The Senate will now come to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will now be led by Chief of Staff Tax, followed by a moment of silence and reflection.
If willing and able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated.
The clerk will now call the roll. Please correct the pronunciation of your name if it is incorrect.
Baber. Barnes. Barr. Bracy. Bryant. Calder. Cost. Creed. Durham. Galavati. Galt. Goldstein. Grunner. Haber. Hamilton. Harvey. Heater. Hensley. Hurd. Howe. Kay. Kuhn. Kwame. Keene. LaPinta. Lapsley. Lazarenu. Lynn. Malachi. Brandon Miller. Isabella Miller. Montalto. Morgan. Wynn. Peterson. Rangavajula. Ravi. Sane. Sellers. Spittler. Tanner. Vadlamani. Vaught. Wenzel. Whitehead.
With the quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of November 15th, 2023 as found online? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in line for general orders of the Senate, beginning with reports from Senate leadership. Speaker Pro Tempore Baber is recognized to give a report on the Rules Committee.
First, Rules Committee report. Rules just met at 5:30 on Sunday, like we usually do, and we discussed two new pieces of legislation, which are moving forward to the body, so you're going to see those today, and I yield my time to questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now have a report from the Academics Committee. Chairwoman Creed, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. So academics met Monday at 7 p.m. in the LSC as normal. We just went over some of general Senate commitments like timing and stuff that just wanted to reassure everyone that we all signed up for the same thing and that we're all still willing to work. We discussed a little bit of a plan for spring semester. My senators on my committee will be coming to me next week with some ideas on stuff that we will finish out the term with in the spring semester. And that's about it. And with that, I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Is there anyone willing to give a report? Vice Chairman Durham, you are recognized.
Hi, everyone. Today we just have a regular legislation to pass. Let me see. So today what we did was we just had our regular rules committees, I believe. So sorry, I don't have it up here. All right, well, VOT has the minutes, but we passed several organizations for Finance Committee, and we passed around, I want to say, I'm sorry for finance, $30,000 for allocations. With that, I yield to questions.
The Vice Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Vice Chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized.
Hi guys, I hope you all had a restful Thanksgiving break. As usual, as I've been talking about the couple of past few weeks, we're really focused on the menstrual product drive, so I encourage you all to also donate any products. There's a brown cardboard box in the LSC, and that's where we're taking donations. I'm gonna put an infographic in the student government group me, so that y'all can kind of remember to donate, and then we've also reached out to other orgs. The drive, we're gonna extend it until December 6th. So please, 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 please bring in as many things as you can. As you know, all of the proceeds from this drive are gonna be used to make baskets that we're gonna put in the library for finals week. And anything that we have in excess, we're gonna be donating to an organization known as No Periods Left Behind. No Periods Left Behind, they are partnering with rural high schools and middle schools in South Carolina and making sure that menstrual products are accessible to said students. And with that, I yield my time to questions.
The Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Inclusion and Equity Committee. Chairwoman Bracy, you are recognized.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today we met at 4:30 at the LSC and we came up with a list of things that we would like to start in the spring. Just a little sneak peek of something we would like to do is a school supply drive for local school districts in need. And we would like to do a college-specific newsletter that can go in the Daily Gamecock so everybody can know what specific college events are going on at each college across campus so they can come if they would like to. I yield to any questions.
The Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Chairman Bryant, you are recognized.
Good evening, everybody. Judiciary did not meet due to our Thanksgiving holiday because we meet on Fridays, so didn't want to make anyone meet. There's no new or really old business to report as nothing's been sent to Judiciary, though Judiciary is looking to create a Judiciary Committee crafted bill at the request of the President's Office in order to look at overhauling some of the cabinet positions and reforming that at the President's request. And with that, I'll yield to questions.
The Chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
We will now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Chairman Harvey, you are recognized.
Hey everyone, Powers and Responsibilities met on Monday at 7. We had 2 interviews and both candidates were found favorable. So with that, I yield to questions.
The Chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Is there anyone willing to give a report on this committee tonight? Seeing none, we'll now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Chairwoman Heater, you are recognized.
Hey everyone, I hope y'all had great Thanksgiving breaks. So Sustainability as usual, we met last Friday at 3:30 the week before Thanksgiving. We just discussed like the incoming green certification legislation that you're going to see tonight. Then we also are working on the transition because I will be leaving next semester to study abroad. So my Vice Chair Hensley will be the chair, and then we determined that Senator LaPinta will be the vice chair upon my absence. So just working on like goals for next semester and like transitioning all the sustainability communications in that way, and then carrying out any potential green certification initiatives. And with that, I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now have a report from the Freshman Council. Are there any representatives from the Freshman Council present? Seeing none, we will now have a report from the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Buchmeyer, you are recognized.
Good evening, everybody. Yet again, another week passes, and I have no report. I know some of y'all are just disheartened by this every time, but glad we can overcome it together. With that, I yield to questions.
The Chief Justice yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief Justice? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Speaker of the Student Senate, Cameron Eubanks. Chief of Staff, Courtney Tax, you are recognized.
Hi, friends. Okay, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet for today. Just a reminder, professional dress for Senate. I think everybody at this point knows what that is. So it's just a reminder.
And point of information, if you don't know what it is, I sent an email today with a very detailed list of what that includes and what that does not include. So just check your email.
Yeah. So for next week is a dress down day for the following 7 people. That would be Aiden Gruner, Philip Howe, Will Barnes, Maura Hamilton, Transfer and Win, Nick Harvey, and Jack Hensley. However, it is the holiday season, so I'm extending this deadline to Friday. Yay! So if you can give any cans at all by Friday, send me a picture and an email. If you give 5 cans, I will count that as one of your student government events that can get rid of an unexcused absence. So by Friday at 5 p.m. Friday at 5 p.m. So, yeah, with that, I yield my time to questions.
The Chief of Staff yields to questions. Chairwoman Ravi. Yes, menstrual products for No Periods Left Behind will also be considered for the dress down day and as a student government event. If you do both, that's 2 events, and you will get an unexcused absence marked off. And point of information, you have to take a picture of it and send it to myself or Courtney via email or text. We've gotten a lot of funny selfies, so
yeah, thank you.
You want to keep sending those are fun.
Always really appreciate it.
Any other questions, Chairman Bryant?
I wasn't aware of this photo requirement, and I brought some of the rules and just dumped them in that thing.
Perfect.
Do I need to bring more cans?
You are all good.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Any other questions, Senator Lapsley?
Friday at 5 p.m.
Senator Kaye. Any other questions, Senator Morgan? You can do it at the back table. Don't get that confused with the toy drive that's going on for FROCA right now. I will also count that as a student government event if you bring in toys for the toy drive. And if you go and volunteer this Friday at the Epworth Children's Home, right there, if you go and do that, I will also count that as an event. So that is 4 events that can count for 2 absences. Senator Morgan.
On a more serious note, I
I have outwardly done this in pretty much all of my clubs and organizations, saying we need an assistant clerk. If you want to get involved with student government, please be willing to help. Not a lot of people want to sit and type. We are really working on it. I promise you guys we are working on it. We are doing everything in our power. It's just not a very sought after position. So I think I've got someone who is interested. So I just need to double check with her and see if she's willing to come in and do training, and we should be set.
And point of information, the application is still open on Garnetgate for that position. So that's a part of a continuing process of people can still apply on Garnetgate as well. So we are still accepting interviews for that position. Chairwoman Heater.
Yes.
Point of information, it is a box, and the LOC on the counter to the right where the wall is. Chairwoman Ravi.
I can put a label on it if we do not have a label on it as well.
Any other questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Treasurer. Treasurer Augsbach Lama, you are recognized.
Hi everyone, no major updates from my office this week, but I did just want to give a reminder to everyone that if you're ever interested in doing any initiatives within your Senate committees that require funding, I'd be more than happy to come talk and discuss how you can do that and walk you through the process, because I know I've been doing that with some of the FROCO members, but I just wanted to remind everyone that that was an option since I have no real updates this week. But other than that, I yield to questions.
The Treasurer yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Treasurer? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Vice President. Chief of Staff Badensky, you are recognized.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are all doing well this Wednesday evening. We just have a couple things for VP staff. We wanted to let you guys know that next week we're going to be doing our Swipe Out Hunger Drive. I'm sure most of you know what that is, but if you don't, Swipe Out Hunger is just an opportunity for us to partner with Aramark to provide some extra meals to students who might need that. We're going to be needing some volunteers on Wednesday and Thursday of next week, but we'll be sending that out in the GroupMe volunteer sheet. And then if you are in a pre-professional fraternity, please have your president respond to the email that they got from Student Gov Outreach. The subject line is Key Week Survey. We're trying to get that finished up. Currently, we have responses from AK Psi, AED Sig Psi, Alpha Omega Epsilon, and then Gamma Iota Sigma. If you're in a pre-professional fraternity that isn't one of those, please talk to your exec board for us. But with that, I yield to questions.
The Chief of Staff yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body President. President Thompson, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you to all of you who helped spread the word about the Uber discount program. It was a big success. We're definitely hoping to make it a permanent thing next year and kind of reevaluating better ways to release the voucher link at a certain time so people can't reserve rides in advance. But overall, we were super excited with how that went and the hundreds of safe rides students were able to have. I'm also super excited to announce that the library will officially be open 24 hours during finals this fall. It will open at 10 a.m. on Saturday, December 9th, which is reading day, and remain open through Friday, December 15th at 7 p.m. It will be the top 3 floors, and I'll release the actual specific information to y'all in the GroupMe soon. Something else small but exciting is that we were able to work with the university's community relations team to get some potholes filled over Thanksgiving break. So if you're driving over Assembly Street, that one by Horizon is no longer there, which is awesome. We had the Board of Trustees meeting before Thanksgiving break, so we met with Advancement Engagement and Communications, Health and Medical Affairs, University Systems, Governance, and full board. This week, the bulk of my time is being spent on preparing the infrastructure presentation for the board, which will be given on December 19th. I'll be doing a mock presentation of it once it's finalized. We'll make sure all of you have an opportunity to see that if you'd like. Special shout out to the senators from Judiciary who joined us for Cabinet yesterday to discuss potential restructuring ideas. I think there'll be a lot of good ideas coming out of that. And then please keep an eye out for a spreadsheet coming from Government Relations about writing notes to state legislators for Carolina Day. There will be a super simple template to follow, but we would like everyone to participate as it really does help state level advocacy efforts. So I'm just going to run through how it's going to work really quickly. On that spreadsheet, you will put your name next to the name of your senator or representative if you're an in-state student. So there will be a link to find your legislator if you're not sure who that is and you are in-state. If you're the recipient of an in-state scholarship, specifically Hope, Life, or Palmetto, please sign up to write a letter for a member of the Education Committee and follow the template for scholarship recipients. In all of your notes, be sure to mention the student experience. We want to emphasize how grateful we are for student life in USC and demonstrate how important that is to us. The thank you notes are not yet delivered to the LSC, but we are recruiting letter writing help from other campuses. So we need to go ahead and sign up for USC Columbia before we send that out to them, just so you guys get priority. And then Reese Lycan, who is GR Director, will be the point of contact for any questions, and she will send her number when she sends this out. And then be sure to check the GroupMe and the Snap group chat for a fun opportunity next Wednesday. And with that, I yield to questions.
The student body president yields to questions. Are there any questions for the president? Senator Calder.
February 13th.
Any other questions for the president? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for special orders of the Senate. Are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other? The clerk will now read.
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate requesting a 1-week extension for the following positions. Assistant Clerk.
The question is of a 1-week extension on the appointment of assistant clerk. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The extension is granted. Continuing on.
Application of Josh Wall to be seated in the 115th Student Senate.
The application is referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on.
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate concerning the resignation of Casey Keene from the position of Student Senator.
Received. Continuing on. Seeing no more special orders of the Senate, we are now in line for the motion period. Are there any motions on the floor? And point of information, this is the time where you can add or remove yourself from any committee you choose to do so. Senator Hurd. There's been a motion to remove Senator Hurd from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Chairwoman Creed, excuse me. There's been a motion to remove Senator Creed from the Health and Safety Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Harvey, excuse me. There's been a motion to approve the confirmation of those two candidates to fulfill vacant seat senators. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Harvey? There's been a motion to suspend the rules to allow the nominees to be confirmed. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. If the Chief Justice could come down to the front to deliver the oath of office, and our two nominees to come down and to deliver, or to, excuse me, to recite your oath. Congratulations to the newly appointed senators. You may take a seat into the body. Are there any other motions on the floor? Senator Calder? There's been a motion to remove Senator Calder from the Student Life Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Any other motions? Senator Vaught. There's been a motion to remove Senator Vaught from the Student Life Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Any other motions on the floor? Seeing none, if we could get a tabulation on the Student Life Committee's membership real quick. Seeing no more motions, is there a motion to dispense with the motion period? Without objection, so ordered. We are now on the call, the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11541, introduced by Senator Vaught, a bill to permit the Senate Finance Committee to allocate funds to student organizations.
Senator Vaught, you're recognized to speak on the legislation.
Hi, everyone. So, Finance Committee met, not just Friday, but Friday before then. We allocated, a few clubs requested $34,741.52. The Finance Committee approved the allocation of $28,328.13. They were allocated to 5 organizations: the Indian Cultural Organization, Gamecock Robotics, the Vietnamese Student Association, Academic Team, Catholic Campus Ministry. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Senator Kaye.
Yes. I'm not 100% sure. That would be something the treasurer would have to officially answer.
Any other questions for the senator? Seeing none, is there a motion to pass by acclamation? Is there a second? All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on with the call, the introduction for new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11542, introduced by Chairman Kuhn, a bill to both clarify and make the financial codes more equitable.
Vice Chairman Durham, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Vice Chairman Durham, and Chairman Kuhn cannot be here today because he has a visa meeting. However, this bill is going to be very beneficial to the Senate committee, to the Senate. So this bill is both to clarify and make the financial codes more equitable. The first thing that we're doing is dialogues are now required for requests exceeding $1,000, not $500. This means that we'll be able to allocate our time more efficiently and effectively. The threshold implemented that states that no more than 5% of the student activity fund can be allocated to a singular organization is also going to be very helpful in terms of how we allocate to different groups and organizations. This means that not too much money will be allocated to one organization. The exception to this threshold is going to be the event that is being allocated for is deemed to bring prestige up upon the university and may be decided upon at the discretion of the Finance Committee. Next, if there's no Finance Committee meeting and or treasurer's workshop that has occurred prior to the specific deadline in the current fiscal year, the organization may still receive funding without necessitating reliance on the emergency funding provisions outlined in the codes. Then next, we have changed the wording in the definition of a conference from people to individuals/organizations. Additionally, the event should not should include either a collaboration with another club, professional organization, or university. And then an official quote will be needed for registration fees, and the generated organization documents or estimates will not be considered valid. Rooms, in terms of like rooming requests for allocations to that, have to be defined to their capacity and has to take into account sex distribution. And then further on, you'll need to like further clarify rooming assignments and things like that when you're going to different destinations, especially if you're doing something like an Airbnb, and you can read about that further in the bill. I yield my time to questions.
The Vice Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions, Chairman Bryant?
Thank you. As a member of the Finance Committee,
I would say if we were holding, for example, there was a dance competition that we had a couple years ago that required a large sum of money, and that was through many different universities. That brought prestige. If it's a competition that's known nationwide, I would also consider that something that has prestige to it.
Any other questions? Senator Hurd.
Do you know if you or Chairman Coon were able to solicit any feedback from student organizations who have requested funds for these different limits?
So, information like what are you looking for from the clubs?
Like have clubs had input in this legislation?
No, but we've considered what they've requested, and we've looked at it, and we've considered this 5% a good threshold. That way, there's not too much money going to one organization, but we're also not limiting special events such as the Tiger Burn, which is essential to our student life.
Any other questions for the Vice Chairwoman? Seeing none, this legislation is referred to the Finance and Judiciary Committees. Continuing on the call of introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now on the call of the uncontested calendar. The clerk will now read.
SBO 11535, introduced by Senator Calder, a recommendation to put the South Carolina state flag in the Carolina Volleyball Center.
Senator Calder, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be real brief. This is, like I said, very simple. We're just putting our state flag back in the put it in the volleyball center. I don't think it's was ever there. Very simple legislation. I think as the state's flagship institution, we should have our state's flag in our volleyball center. And with that, I yield to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing no more questions, we will now move to a vote on the legislation. Since it was on the uncontested calendar, this shall be a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on the call.
SBO 11536, introduced by Senator Costin Calder, a recommendation to extend Blatt PE Center hours.
Senator Morgan. Heard if the clerk could reflect that in the title of the legislation and on the legislation itself. Senator Koss, Senator Morgan, and Calder, you're recognized to speak on the legislation.
So we spoke about this last Senate session. This is essentially a bill to extend the hours of Blatt PE Center to be similar to those of Strom Thurmond. So this would be from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Friday.
I know there was some interesting questions about this last week. I was supposed to meet with the athletics director at Williams-Brice Stadium to talk about this. I sent an email. He emailed us back. He was also supposed to meet us at a certain time. We were there at Williams-Brice Stadium from 12:30 to almost 1. He never answered our phone calls, and he never answered our emails, so I did not get a chance to really talk to him about this. And with that, I think we yield to questions.
The senators yield to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Seeing none, we will now move to a vote on the legislation. Since this was on the uncontested, this shall be a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on the call.
SBO 11538, introduced by Chairwoman Heater, Senator Rangivajula, and the Sustainability Committee. A resolution to demonstrate student government support for the green certification process.
The senators are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Hey everyone, so we're super excited about this. The SBO 11538 is just a resolution of general support for green certification. We hope that this can gain traction within student government, and eventually one day we can codify some things depending on how it plays out in this rest of the term.
Just a short recap, since I know a lot of you guys were probably burnt out a little bit from last week's session or were not here. So just a short recap, green certification is a pretty simple process where Sustainable Carolina meets with organizations requesting to do this process. Just a short 15-minute meeting, they fill out a form, they get feedback on how they can improve their project to be more, or their event to be more in line with the sustainable policies of the university, and then that's it. So I think having this feedback could definitely help people who want to pursue this path, be able to pursue this path in the best way possible. So I think demonstrating our support of it in an official capacity would definitely go a long way in encouraging its use across the campus. With that, we yield to questions.
The senators yield to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Seeing no more questions, we shall now move to a vote on the legislation. Since this was on the uncontested calendar, this shall now be a voice vote. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Contending on the call, the uncontested calendar, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11539, introduced by Chairwoman Heater, Senator Rangivajula, and the Sustainability Committee, a recommendation to the Treasurer's Office to encourage the use of green certification for student organization events funded by student government.
The senators are once again recognized to speak on the legislation.
Yeah, so just to recap on this one's pretty cool. So basically we'll get the Treasurer's Office to put the green certification link in the Treasurer's toolbox on the student government website, and for green certification, the link and just a little information about the process to be included in treasurer workshops when the organizations come to request funds. I think this will help really promote the green certification process, and it's just such a simple 10-minute process that can really have a change for sustainability in the university, and I just think this is a great way to promote it with the Treasurer's Office, and they already said they would do it, so this is just formally recognizing it.
Yeah, what she said. We yield to questions.
The senators yield to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Senator Morgan?
As per this bill, no. We just want to encourage its use.
Any other questions for the senators? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now move to a vote on the legislation. Since this was on the uncontested calendar, this shall be a voice vote. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on the call, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11540, introduced by Chairwoman Heater, Senator Rangivajula, and the Sustainability Committee, a recommendation to implement green certification for student government programming and events.
The senators are recognized to speak on the legislation.
So this one was heavily influenced by RHA's current practices. They green certify all of their events, which is roughly 8 events per month. We have far fewer events than that, so I think this is very possible. This also does not codify anything. This just is a recommendation, and maybe in the future, if this is super successful, I think it would be a cool thing to codify this type of thing. But as of now, it's a recommendation that the VP staff and other branches of student government that are doing programming or events would make them green certified. This also helps to promote them, and I just think there's a lot of positive benefits to this legislation. And yeah, do you have anything to add?
I think as student leaders, it's important that we lead by example. So adopting this first before trying to potentially even go out and then make this a mandatory thing for events or organizations requesting funding, whether that be something feasible in the future or not. I think it's important that we try to take that first step ourselves. And as far as questions and concerns about additional workload for Sustainable Carolina, they're more than happy to be able to take on that workload. We've already discussed with them what that might look like moving into that transition as we begin to green certify our events. So with that, we yield to questions.
The senators yield to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now move to a vote on the legislation. Since this was in the uncontested calendar, this shall be a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on the call of the uncontested calendar, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, that completes the call of uncontested legislation. We are now on the call of the contested calendar. The clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now in line for a period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Senator Ron Gavajula.
Hello, everyone. As you might have seen in the GroupMe, I've posted information about an event tomorrow that a class is holding on Davis Field. And it's essentially about tackling climate change anxiety and realizing the things that we may lose if we don't change our lifestyle and our practices. So I think it's a really good initiative. And I think it really hits home on one of the most immediate ways that climate change can impact us, while also looking at the ways that it can impact us in the future. So I think it's important that we be there as senators. I mean, specifically, not only to support them, but also to be able to provide resources as to how they can be sustainable on campus, as well as mental health resources for them to mitigate this climate anxiety. So if anyone is free from the time of 9 to 2 tomorrow, and would like to stop by and speak with the students, I think this is a great way to connect with constituents and really figure out what they'd like for us to do to resolve these issues, at least on a campus standpoint. So tomorrow, 9 to 2, Davis Field. Hope to see you there. Thank you.
Do you yield to questions?
Yes, I do.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you so much. Is there any other senator wishing to bring a matter of attention before the body? Seeing none, we're now in line for a period of announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor? Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. As my job as Health and Safety Chairwoman, it's not only my job to care about the health and safety of our constituents, but also to care about your health and safety. And with finals coming up, I know that that can place a lot of mental and physical anguish on my fellow senators. So as your, I guess, resident authority figure in mental health matters, please let me know if there's anything I can do for you. And I mean this in all seriousness. For a lot of you that know me, you know how seriously I take mental health and psychiatry and all those things in general. So if you need any help, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to assist you in any academic matters and mental health matters. That is all. I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Senator Ron Gavajula, you're recognized.
Oh, thank you. I do recognize that. That makes me feel really happy. Thanks.
Any other questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. Is there any other senator wishing to bring an announcement from the floor? Chairman Harvey.
I should have done this in my the opening thing. Our vice chair is Senator Izzy Whitehead. I forgot to mention it. So I yield my time to questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much. Senator Calder, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will make this very brief. Everybody knows that I'm a sports person for the university. I have to give a shout out to the university's men and women's basketball team for being undefeated again. This is the first time the men have been undefeated since 2016-2017 season. And this is and that's the last time we went to the Final Four with Frank Martin. So if you haven't been to a basketball game, I implore you to please come out to CLA, my bad. It's a really good, fun atmosphere. I think there was over 15,000 people at the last game against Notre Dame, and I think the women have gone over 16,000. So please get your tickets now on the Cockpit app. With that, I yield the question.
The senator yields to questions. Chairman Bryant, you're recognized.
Senator Calder, are you an official spokesman yet, or are you still waiting?
You know, I'm waiting for Ray Tanner to give me a call, so I'll let you go. Keep you posted.
Senator Morgan.
Senator Calder, when is the next men's basketball game and when is the next women's basketball?
That's an excellent question. The men play Friday against George Washington, and it's at 7. That's a revenge game since they beat us by 30 last year. The women play Thursday night against UNC at 7 p.m. on ESPN. The women's next home game, though, is Wednesday on the 6th of December. They play Morgan State.
Any other questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you so much. Are there any other announcements from the floor? Seeing none, as always, I do have an announcement, and this is just a reminder of a couple of things that Courtney touched on. We are offering multiple opportunities to forgive your unexcused absences. So you can get up to 2 unexcused absences excused if you donate to the toy drive and send us a picture, donate to the menstrual product drive and send us a picture, donate to the canned food drive, which we are extending till Friday at 5 p.m. and send us a picture. Notice the common thread here. You have to actually send us a picture for us to excuse it. And also the Freshman Council is having an event at Epworth Children's Home on Friday, I believe. And so if you volunteer there, they send it in the student government GroupMe. That also counts as a forgiveness event as well. If you want to dress down next Wednesday, which I know we all want to do, then all you have to do is supply an item to these drives and send us a picture. All it requires is at least one item. Just a reminder about professional dress. Like I said, I sent in the email. I'm not going to go over what that means because I said it in the email. You can also look up online what a business professional looks like. They have lots of really cool graphics on there to kind of help you out. But again, we've gotten a little lax and we're a little too casual for the prestige of this body. So my office is going to start getting stricter and stricter on professional dress. It's such an awkward conversation. Please don't make us have the conversation with you because it's such an awkward conversation. If you need more professional attire, the Carolina Closet is free to students with a valid Carolina card, and they have great. I think I got like 2 ties from the Carolina Closet last year because they're a great source of professional and business professional attire, and that is located in the Carolina Coliseum. One last thing before we move on to a different period of adjournment. We also have heard some concerns about behavior and committees. I cannot stress to you enough that even though committees are not live streamed, we hear about it. We know about it. All the chairpersons talk about it in rules. We know everything that happens in committees. And some of the behavior that I've been hearing is kind of, in my opinion, just irresponsible, and it looks bad for not only the Senate, but also looks bad for the organization. So professionalism in committees is of the utmost importance. If you're in a committee that interviews people outside of the Senate, such as Finance and Powers, your dress code is business professional because the candidate is coming in with business professional, for the exception of dialogues, which they've specifically told those candidates that is casual. But that's just a hint of what the professional dress needs to look like. Also, in terms of behavior and attitude, you need to make sure that we're talking about the topic at hand. So if you're in an interview, you need to be talking about the candidate and not what you want to have for dinner or not what you want to have for lunch or other things outside of the scope of that. You also need to be aware of how you look to the candidates and to other individuals. Like I said, raising of your voice, flailing of your hands, that is completely unacceptable and will not be tolerated in student government and to this body, because those candidates have seen those actions, and again, we want to look like our best selves to these individuals. So if you have any questions on that, or you want to come and talk to us about some concerns you have about yourself or other senators, please do so. That's why we're here. That's why the advisors in the back are here as well. They're a third party, very neutral, not necessarily a part of student government, and they're here to help you and talk to you about any concerns. But other than that, next week is our last session of the fall semester. I cannot believe how much it's flown by. That being said, we have about 2.5 to 3 months left of this term. Elections do happen in late February, and inauguration is in late March, and so Senate will go up to inauguration. I will be sending out the spring schedule before next Wednesday, so you can have it in your calendars. Same time, same place, same attire, same everything. But what I would encourage you to do is, now is the time, if you are on the fence about writing legislation, now is the time to kick it into high gear, because your term ends in March, right? You want to make sure that you accomplish your goals that you came into office with or that you interviewed with, and you want to make sure that you accomplish those for your constituents. So please, please use our resources. My legislative aide, Hannah Watts, is here to help you form ideas. She's going to be going around to committees with Speaker Pro Tempore Baber to help formulate some ideas and help you get legislation off the ground. I'm a resource. I can connect you to any university contact that you need. Courtney is a resource. The advisors are a resource. So please, 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 if you have ideas about legislation, it can be anything, come have a conversation with us. Come have a conversation with your committee. Come have a conversation with your chairperson. We're here to help you make sure that you can realize your goals that you came into office with and that you are serving your constituents to the best of your ability. So please, please remember to do that. If you have any questions or concerns at all, please don't hesitate to come to our office. Like I said, I'll give the good send-off next week for winter break. But please take care of yourself. As Chairwoman Ravi mentioned, we are going into finals, and if you're like me, I'm stressed up to my nose. So please, please take care of yourself. And utilize the library being open 24 hours, which is another campaign promise done by the execs and student government as a whole. So we're super excited to offer that to our constituents. With that, I will yield to questions. Are there any questions for the speaker, Chairwoman Ravi? Yep. Email or text, please. And it can be either one of us. Any other questions for myself, Chairwoman Ravi? Any other questions? Seeing none and hearing none, with no further announcements, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. The Senate will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. And if I could have the